Hey everybody, we're going to talk about how to use Tour Creator here. So if you don't know where the website is, you can see I just went to Google and I did a search for Tour Creator, and it's this first one that comes up. So this AVR, Tour Creator. I'm just going to click on that and I'm going to go to the Tour Creator site. So obviously the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to click on Get Started. If you have not signed in, you're going to want to do that, and you can do that from your CFA email account. So you can see I'm just going to take my CFA email account. I'm going to click on that. I've already got the password entered in, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And this is going to take me into where I want to go. So I'm going to click on New Tour here, and if you've got a tour that you don't want, you can just click on More Options and hit Delete Tour and get rid of it, okay? So I'm going to click on New Tour here to start something new. And I'm going to give it a title. So you need to figure out now, where in the world do you want to go? You can go almost anywhere in the world. So you might want to pick some place that's important to you, or some place that you want to learn more about. If you wanted to go to Paris, if you wanted to go to London, you can do tours about those. I'm just going to do one on Disney World. So I'm going to type in Disney World, and then I'm going to give a brief description. So this is a tour of the Magic Kingdom, okay? And then obviously I got a little goof up right there. And then I'm gonna drag an image in there. So I do have an image right here of Disney, so I'm just gonna drag that in there so that it is ready to go, okay? So now basically this tour is ready to get started. I'm not gonna add a category, although I suppose if you wanted to, you could, if one of these categories kind of fits. For me, it might be like places and scenes, right? So I might do that. So I'll hit create right there. So now what we're going to have is we have a map over here. And right now we're in San Jose, California. You can see that if I zoom in on that, I can get down in there, okay? But Disney World is in Florida. So I can either move this map by wheeling. I can wheel up and down to zoom in and out, and then I can drag and move this map around. Or I can just search here. So if I know I'm going to Disney World, right? I can type in Disney World, and then the map will take me there. And I can zoom out a little bit until I find the Magic Kingdom. So there's Epcot Center there, and so there's the Magic Kingdom right here. So I'm going to zoom in on the Magic Kingdom. Now, if I click on this little peg man, okay, anything that's blue is an area where there is a 360 picture that I could use. So if I were to come over here to Tomorrowland and drop this guy in there, you can see now this 360 view of where I am. And if I wanted to move around, I can either click on this little arrow out here, right? So if I click on these arrows, this will take me someplace that I can go. Or if I go to my map, I can move my little pegman around and go to a different location in the park. So basically what I want to do is get a little view of Space Mountain here. So I'm going to kind of zoom in here until I get the view that I want. And so, maybe I just kind of start from here, and this is where I'm going to start from. So this is the scene that I want, so I just click on Add Scene. And this is now going to drop in here, and you can see that I can click and hold, and I can move around. And if I were wearing VR goggles, as I looked around, this is what I would see. So I'm going to type this untitled scene. I'm going to change it to Tomorrowland, okay? The location is the Magic Kingdom, okay? The description, you got 500 words here, so you could say what you want. This is a view of Space Mountain, and I could go on and give some more information. So you might need to do a little bit of research here to kind of figure out what you're going to say. Now, the important part is you want to start adding points of interest. So it's one thing to be able to look around, but a point of interest is going to give people a little bit more information that they can click on, okay? The other thing you're going to do is set your starting view. So I want my starting view to be this view of Space Mountain like this. So I'm going to click on Set Starting View, and you can see this little indicator will tell me where I am in the picture itself, okay? So normally it would probably start right around there, which is not where I want. So I'm going to set up this view of Space Mountain, click on Set Starting View, and then I'm just going to click Save. So instead of seeing this initially, they should then see the Space Mountain. So I'm going to, again, rotate this. And I don't know why I'm having some problems here. So let's cancel that and try that again. There we go. So now I can rotate that, and I'm going to click Save. And then now this is going to be my starting view. You can see how this little icon switched over to be up like that. So that's the first thing people are going to see. Now what I want to do is add a point of interest. And this will be a clickable region that people can click on and find out more information about what's going on in your picture. So I'm going to click add a point of interest, and you can see I've got this kind of bullseye, and I can move this sort of wherever around and and pick different locations. So I'm going to put it over the Space Mountain here. So when my viewer is looking at it, they're going to see that this is a clickable region. And what I want to do is title this, and so I'm just going to title this Space Mountain. Okay, and then again, I would need to do a little bit of research to give some information. So I can say Space Mountain opened in 1975, right? It's an indoor roller coaster that can reach speeds, of 35 mph. Okay, so once I have whatever it is that I want to say, I can then upload a picture, right? So I actually went online and I downloaded a picture of Space Mountain. So you can see there's this little button right here that says Add Image Overlay. I'm just going to move this out of the way. And here's my Space Mountain picture here. So I'm just going to drag that over, okay? And so now I can add that picture of Space Mountain in on my overlay. And you'll see that this should change in just a minute, okay? And I can resize this if I need to make it bigger or smaller so it doesn't take up quite so much room, okay? And then I would go ahead and move around, and maybe I would do a point of interest here, so I could add a second point of interest here, right? Move this and say this is the people mover, and do some research into the people mover and start talking about what that was, and so on and so on. So when you start making your scene, try to have a couple of, at least 2 or 3 or more hotspots where people can go and find out some more information about what's going on. Now, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get ready for another scene. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to add another scene. And I just repeat the process, right? So I've got Disney World here, so I'm going to click on that. And we're going to zoom in here to the Magic Kingdom. And maybe I go to a different section of the park, okay? So, I can click out, where'd my Pegman go? So I could click out to different regions, go to a different part of the park, and find an image that I wanted to do. So I'm not sure why Pegman here is, there he is. So I'm just gonna grab Pegman, and maybe I come over to this area over here, and we do Liberty Square and the Haunted Mansion and stuff like that, right? So I'll come out over here, drop my Pegman in, and see if this is the place that I want to go, and if not, then I can start moving around and getting to the actual place where it makes sense, okay? So I then just click on Add Scene, and then I'd repeat the process and say this is Hall of Presidents or whatever, okay? So again, your challenge is to find a place that interests you, that excites you, that you want to learn more about. It can literally be almost anywhere in the world. So if I pull back here, right, and I want to go over to another country, I could come over here to France, right, and I could go into Paris, and if I wanted to type in Eiffel Tower, I could click in Eiffel Tower, and it would take me there, okay? And then I can move my, move my little guy around until I find the scene that I want to see, right? And then I would just click on that scene. I could tell a little bit about the Eiffel Tower. I could tell a little bit about what this bridge is, and these different buildings and whatnot, okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have some fun and come up with some interesting tours. We'll talk to you later.